I was going through some viral videos and I noticed this one thing that was in common. And even with the videos that I made that like had a million views or a couple 100,000 views, and other videos I made for other YouTube channels that made thousands and thousands of views, there's this one thing in common that I just never really saw before. I never really noticed. And it was something that I was even doing unintentionally. And I'm even doing it right now. Can you guess what it is? This one thing is so elusive and it's so cool because you just don't really think about it. It's not something that you think has a major impact, but it does. It's standing. I'm standing. I'm not just sitting at a desk. There's so much energy and presence lost by sitting down in a YouTube video. But if you intentionally stand, you're going to bring so much more. I looked through my videos and I was like, which ones do really well? Which one had the most engagement? And pretty much most of them that were really good, I was outside, which happens to have me standing. Now, you don't have to be standing outside to make this work. You can be inside standing and it works just fine. So let's look at it like it's a movie. Let's take an action movie. What's usually happening is they're running around, jumping, fighting, kicking, doing somersaults. They're probably standing. They're probably not just sitting around that much. The plot moves, even if they're just sitting at a diner, then they're up and they do stuff. They're very motivated physically. And then same with dramas, they're also motivated physically. They're not just sitting around a lot either. They're walking around the room. They're projecting their emotions and stuff like that. They're not really just sitting there talking like a little robot. That's really boring. The movies that you love that are really engaging, they are generally very motivated physically. So we want to do that. And that's kind of how I see this. This is like working like a very dynamic and engaging movie. You're also going to look better when you're standing. So let's take this where I'm sitting. I look kind of like a cookie dough ball. Like I'm very frumpy. My stomach is going to roll over into itself. My legs are going to squish against the jeans, even though they're actually pretty loose fitting, more or less. Like, I'm not going to look as good here with, like, say, from my thighs up in a sitting position versus if I'm standing, I'm going to look better. I don't know, this just looks better. I'm doing the thighs up to the head, and this just generally looks better as far as I'm concerned. Another really great thing about the standing is it makes it so much easier to move around and you're just far more mobile. Now, with that being said, I can also position it just like this. And as you can see, I'm pacing back and forth and I get to pause and gesture, and it can feel a little bit more like a TED Talk. So if I wanted to represent authority and have a board where I wrote stupid things on it to get my point across, you can see that. And I can gesture with my whole entire body and sway, and it can seem as if I'm speaking and being very authentic and powerful, but I'm just standing. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some downsides. For example, I didn't make my bed. It's kind of a mess in here. So to make this work a little bit better as far as I'm concerned, you do want to consider things and actually pick up the room. Oh well, you're going to have to be a responsible adult for a minute and pick up after yourself. And maybe that'll make it a little bit better. Oh man, that was a tough one. I made my bed. Oh, that was the end of the world, I guess. Finally, one of the greatest reasons to stand in a lot of it is because when you do sit, if you do move around or end up somewhere on the computer where you're going to go through things, there's a lot more of a shift in the tone. It's more dynamic. So now I can kind of slow down and relax and go over things. In fact, I'm actually just finding now I'm having a harder time breathing sitting than when I was standing. And you know what was great too? I actually got a little bit of exercise. I got some steps in because I was walking around. But I'm not really getting any steps here sitting down. So the thing is, once you start doing it, you're going to realize you're like, that looks so much better. You're in edit and you're like, oh yeah, I could just cut to this really quick. Things just look better. And if you are filming outside, which I try to do as much as possible, It's just more dynamic. There's more for somebody's eyes to like look around the screen. A desk set up like this, it's only so interesting. And I will end up probably having this as the longest shot because it's just, you get in this groove where it's like keeps going. I'm sitting and talking and so on. But when I'm standing, I kind of want to move around and like have an idea, put it out there. But you know, I don't even have to do that. I know like there's a lot of people who do really, really well online. And when they're standing and talking, there's just so much authority and they get in this groove and it feels really good. So you tell me, did this video feel a little bit different, a little bit more interesting than most of the videos we've been watching lately? Because if you're anything like me, all social media is just brain rot. I just end up feeling like I'm dead inside after consuming it, and I'm not really happy anymore feeding myself these ideas. It's always just a sales, a commercial. It doesn't even matter how it's made. I'm just hunting for something else. And then I go onto YouTube, and I love YouTube, but it's also just this like mind-numbing thing where the creator and the person doesn't matter anymore. And I'm just trying to get an idea, and then I'm like, well, I should just go to ChatGPT or whatever. I just feel empty inside. And something like this where a little bit more presence about the human being, the body, and seeing that makes it feel a little bit more alive. I feel like when I'm watching somebody and they're actually there and they're in a space and it's not just hard cuts all over the place like some vlog, you know, it feels better. It feels a little more human. I'm feeling a little more connection when I see something like this. It's this type of connection I'm hunting for is what I'm actually hunting for. I'm not trying to find a video about 10 tips to do something stupid. I'm trying to get some insight and some kind of connection, fill in something of lack that I'm feeling is why I'm going on there, and maybe a little bit of entertaining. But that's going to come from people. And I want to see the person. I don't want them to feel like, I don't want to see them in their lowest vibration, is what I'm saying. Like just sitting there and just kind of moping about and just ranting, it feels less exciting. It's still good. I don't think that you should stop sitting down. I'm still going to do it. But if I can stand instead, I'm going to try that more because there's this magic in it. And there's something a little bit more interesting as far as I'm concerned, like a lot more interesting, a lot more beautiful to see somebody actually, their body, and they can move and they're just a little more free. And to see that, and when they're pitching an idea, there's so many more nuances that happen when people are talking like that. It's just that much more exciting. Think about going to a party and everybody's sitting. It would be, you can imagine the energy of it. It's just like, ugh, no. People socialize, they're standing, they're walking about, there's a life to it. They're not sleepy. As soon as you start sitting down or resting, well, everything starts to kind of be like triggered by that and say, oh, I'm resting now. I can kind of chill out. I can be calm. I don't want to watch somebody who's calm. That's not what I'm looking for on YouTube, at least not most of the time. I want to see the person. I want to connect to some human because I feel so dead inside half of the time. And I go on the internet because I'm not connected to enough people. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's so important to realize what it is that somebody on the other end of the camera is doing and what their state of mind is. They're literally just watching somebody. And, you know, they could just do ChatGPT, they could watch crap on social media, but they're choosing YouTube because it's different. Because it's more about the creator, and it's less about like, look at me. It's about you guys and the delivery source. We subscribe to people on YouTube and it matters versus the people I follow on Instagram. I don't care, and it doesn't show me anyways. It's like literally suggested posted somebody that I follow, but not the person I wanted to see. Then it's like your friend follows this person and then suggested posts and then ad. It's like, what is that crap? I'm just so over things lately, and to bring a little bit of a human back in to something that's proven to seem like it's always, or it's very often the case that somebody's just standing. Well, I think that you should start standing in your videos. I'm going to start doing it more. And then I'm planting the flag. I'm calling it now. This is kind of going to be a thing. Till next time. Peace.